We have this story from Forbes. Velma is the third worst rated TV show in IMDB history. Yo, what were they thinking? I was listening to some reviews, and I think this is what Brett was saying over Pop Culture Crisis, that basically the show is hated by everybody and by design. Like, you'd think the Velma show, for those not familiar, it's a prequel to Scooby-Doo, which retcons a pup named Scooby-Doo, which offended everybody, but I digress. You'd think that when they make a show that's woke, it's to piss off the right to generate virality, and then the left would be like, haha, but I like it because the right hates it. Nah. Apparently they just made the show extremely racist, offensive, homophobic, and gay at the same time.
So bad.
And everybody hates it.
Yeah.
I haven't actually watched it, but I want to explain exactly what I'm very, very mad about. All right? So they do this Velma thing where, look at this. That's Shaggy. Okay? This is Shaggy. Now, a lot of people are saying, why is Shaggy black and why is Velma Indian? You know, I got to be honest, I don't really care all that much. You know, I understand people get mad about the race swapping thing, and I'm like, they're trying to make the characters diverse. I guess the problem was they couldn't make a black stoned guy because Shaggy's a stoner who eats a lot of food and does drugs. And so instead, they made him Norville. They made him a beta male. I'm not exaggerating. Apparently, like, that's a character arc for him where he's a beta male. He likes Velma, but Velma's mean to him. I'm going to tell you why I'm very offended by this. Because we just got what's called Ultra Instinct Shaggy, and it was one of the greatest cartoon developments ever. Like, Ultra Instinct Shaggy destroys multiverses. So Warner Brothers puts out this video game called Multiverses with two hilarious things. Shaggy is trying to eat a sandwich when Arya Stark slices it in half, and so he basically goes Super Saiyan. He's so angry that he didn't get his sandwich that he becomes godlike and all-powerful, and that was just one of the funniest things I've ever seen. They got rid of that with this stupid HBO show, making him weak. Velma, in Multiverses, her super ability was to call the police on you. And she called the police on LeBron James, who gets arrested, and then the cop drives off the edge of the map, and then, LeBron dies. And they got rid of that because it was offensive. And it's like, guys, you're hitting gold here. These are funny, fun things that make us laugh. It's not a bug, it's a feature. Instead, they're retconning and destroying everything and making this weird garbage Velma show that nobody wants to watch.
It's supposed to be the history of Velma, like the before, whatever, the prequel.
Yeah.
But they made her
fat, gay, and Indian.
One of the criticisms
Lesbian.
is that they basically, Mindy Kaling, who created this and plays the voice of Velma, the girl from The Office, if you don't know, she's in The Office, basically just inserted herself into the show. So this is like the Mindy Kaling show in the guise of like Velma, but it has nothing to do with Velma or Velma's personality or Velma's character. That's one of the criticisms I read. I still haven't seen it.
Daphne's Asian, and Fred is a rich white guy with a small dick.
Yeah.
I'm not. That's apparently a part of the show.
That's I think that's the only part of the show. I think that's the theme. It's like, okay, yeah. That's
now, I just got to say, this is proof that the global elites are trying to destroy them. I'm kidding.
There's no Scooby-Doo either.
Yeah,
Scooby-Doo.
Scooby.
They're the best character.
He'd probably be a puppy at this point in his life, but still.
What made Scooby-Doo was that a stoned guy was eating dog food with his dog. Yes. That was just the funniest thing,
Yeah.
Shaggy was like, oh, I'm going to eat dog food now. And you're like,
it was like a little bit for everybody. I think you mentioned the diversity. There's a nerdy girl, a hot girl, a stoner dude, and like a jock dude. Everybody could relate in some way to that, for the most part, either.
All white. That was
and then there's
problem.
the goofy dog, that you could be like, okay, at least I identified the dog.
The dog was awesome. The dog was the best part.
Yeah.
I used to like that series. And now to have someone just try to reinvent the wheel, take it over and make it theirs and destroy it, it's just like, okay, think of an original idea. Stop trying to hijack all the other classics out there. I'm also hearing that there's a 2-minute long scene where allegedly 15-year-old girls are butt naked and fighting each other in suggestive positions.
Oh, what?
Yeah, because they're like high schoolers, I think.
Yeah. So like lots of inappropriate, lots of crazy stuff here. I only played it just to kind of see a little bit of it. And I'm like, this is insane. I can't believe this was okayed by people. I can't believe this was like, yeah.
This is the big
fine.
news today. Like we're starting the show, and I'm like, look, what's the big news? And he's like,
Velma.
Velma. Apparently, everyone's mad. Everybody's mad. They ruined Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
And my thing is, outside of the Velma stuff, I think this is the apex, the center of the maelstrom that is the collapse of our culture. We've regurgitated and beaten subject matter and themes to a point where we've made this. Like, we keep rebooting Spider-Man every couple of years. We keep rebooting Batman, Transformers, There's nothing original left. There's no new music. I mean, look. I bring this one up. Christmas time comes around, we listen to the exact same songs from the 40s and 50s.
Right.
It's like, yo, there was a period where those songs were new. And granted, we got like that Mariah Carey one, All I Want for Christmas Is You. But for the most part, very little new things are being developed. We are stagnant. And this is like, okay, now it's crumbled to ash. They keep remaking Scooby-Doo. They make new Scooby-Doo movies. They make, Scooby-Doo in the video game. And we're like, we get it, man. These characters are all you have. Now, you make a copy of a copy of a copy. It just gets worse every time. We're at the point where you can't even decipher. You're just like, what is this? It's like, you take a menu from a restaurant, you copy it. Then you copy the copy and it's kind of grainy. Then you copy the copy and you're like, it looks like gibberish. Then you copy the copy and it's smudge. That's what this is. It's just done. It's done. I don't know where we go from here without Scooby-Doo.
Well, you cut opiates out of your diet if you're taking them. That's one way to get your creativity back.
But they destroyed the core element of the show, which was the kind of sense of friendship. This sense of like, hey, we're going to figure out this problem together. We're going to work together, and that was it was cool to see all the teamwork. But now this show, from what I've seen from the first episode, is I'm a strong, independent woman. I'm going to solve everything, and I'm the best.
Doesn't she murder some dude or something? In the trailer, she murders a guy.
That was another big criticism, is that they don't even like each other, the main characters.
Yeah, they hate each other, and they keep fighting and ridiculing each other and making fun of each other's private parts, even though they're supposed to be 15 years old.
Yeah. I like that Family Guy joke where Peter says something like, it's almost as scary as the Scooby-Doo murder mysteries. Or the murder files or whatever, and then it shows now back to Scooby-Doo murder mysteries, and then Fred is like, he gutted the victim, removed his intestines, and then strangled him with it. We're dealing with 1/6 son of a bitch. It's just the idea of the actual mystery involving murder for Scooby-Doo would just be hilarious.
Yeah, it's
because
funny.
what's funny about Scooby-Doo is the mystery was always that some real estate developer was trying to drop property value every time. And so he dressed up like a ghost to scare people so they wouldn't buy the property. You know what people do? They just shoot guns in their backyard. The property value drops.
True that.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they're trying to save Scooby for season 2, and they're probably going to make him a pit bull, and they're probably going to make the pit bull attack a bunch of babies.
Yeah, I guess.
With the way the show's going, I see that as an actual plot.
I have a feeling they were going to
baby exists.
Scooby's first appearance would be the last episode of the first season. It's just so obvious and predictable. Would have been at the end of the first season. They probably already have it planned out. They're like, I'm so excited, dude. If your shit is crap, it doesn't matter what your plans are because it ain't gonna work. This show's not gonna last more than 6 episodes. I mean, maybe they're already made. Don't mark my words on that. But it's the 3rd lowest rated television show in history on IMDb at the moment. I don't know how many votes are in on it. 1.3 out of 10.
Look at these.
Good luck.
I think it's worse than Santa Inc., which is
Santa Inc. Remember that?
Yeah, that is impressive. It
Wow.
can be worse than
the
that.
Seth Rogen, Sarah Silverman. It's the 5th worst rated thing on IMDb.
Yeah,
what is it?
It's worse than that. That's crazy.
They seem to have badly scripted the idea of an elf wanting to become Santa Claus.
Or Scooby could be a furry, right? A part of the acceptance movement, and then they could be Velma and Scooby could be getting it on.
Dude, if it was a guy that got imprisoned and genetically experimented on and turned into a dog, that'd be cool. But you got to do that in episode 1.
That
just
would
a
be
furry.
cool. He's
That's too complex.
Maybe that's what they're doing.
furry
Like
that's genetic.
Norville actually gets turned into Scooby, and that's why he's not Shaggy.
Oh, and they think the real Shaggy is, but he's like, I can't tell him the truth. It's part of the experiment.
They turn a dog into a guy and a guy into a dog, and that's the origin of Scooby-Doo. And that's why he can talk. Because, hey, why can Scooby talk?
Right,
Exactly.
right.
It
That's
makes
a good
sense.
He's a chimera.
He's
I have no other explanation.
like, why can't we get just something original? I guess you got to make it. Well, Eric
You do.
July made the Ripperverse stuff, so
Yeah.
there's people trying.
You can try.
Yeah, I still think a psychic gorilla is going to be the next big superhero.
What do you mean? Psychorat's Grodd. Grodd's the villain.
But is he a space gorilla?
Gorilla Grodd is from Gorilla City, and he can control people's brains, and he's a bad guy, and he's psychic.
We need a cosmic gorilla good guy that's a psychic.
You know what's kind of funny? In Marvel, they have Wakanda, which is you guys know what Wakanda is.
Wakanda.
Wakanda.
Oh,
Yeah, like
funny.
in the country of Wakanda, in
Black
Africa,
Panther.
they have a force field. They hide. In DC, they have Gorilla City, which is like basically the same thing, but everybody's a gorilla. And I'm like, I wonder why they did that. You know what I mean? That seems kind of weird.
Oh my gosh.
Ian's like, wait a minute.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, that's what DC made. I wonder who made it first, because they would do this thing where Marvel has a DC. I can't remember who did it first. I think maybe Slade. So there's 2 characters. There's Deathstroke and Deadpool, and they're very similar characters. Although Deadpool eventually became comedic, and Deathstroke is a very serious character. Deathstroke is DC, Deadpool is Marvel. And so they talk about how there's like always this back and forth. And I always wondered about that, like the analog for Wakanda is a gorilla city. Like, was that racist?
Yes, it sounds like it, but I don't know. Which came first, Gorilla City or Wakanda?
I don't know. But Gorilla Grodd was a bad guy. He wanted to take over the world because he was basically Killmonger, but a gorilla. That's kind of weird to me.
Jay, what would a philosopher say about this incredible content and entertainment that is force-fed to the American public?
My thought was it's Maoist, like the way that this has to be pushed, and it's always like going a little further, like the dogma of this, right? And Maoism is a cultural revolution that had changed everything that came before. So I just see it as kind of like a rewriting of everything, even down to the point of like the most mundane pop culture stuff has to be rewritten, has to be revolutionized in that way.
Right, like getting rid of all the four olds, like all the old culture, old religion, all the things. It's kind of like it's happening now. All the old things are unacceptable. You can't have them. They need to be redone, remade.
We've been watching, my wife and I've been watching old like 40s movies, which it's amazing the degree even in those of propaganda that existed, like particularly war propaganda, Americanist propaganda. But in terms of like ethics, they're all pretty wholesome, 40s era stuff compared to like what's now.
Yeah.
But it's just bizarre to see how far it's gone from like 40s era to now. Like the revolution is complete, and I think they're going to start like banning movies that are before a certain date. Like you won't, they're going to say you can't. I mean, Bertrand Russell talks about that. He's like, you're not going to be reading Shakespeare in the future. You're not going to read Mark Twain. You're going to read Flannery O'Connor. You're not going to watch movies before a certain date, or they'll be purged in some way or edited in some way. So
that's why I'm obsessed with
Disney already has warnings saying, "Hey, this movie is racist."
For like Snow White. And
exactly, which is absolutely crazy.
Preservation of data. We'll have to hide our data. It's literally we'll have to store our data in hidden like glass cubes in orbit, things where you can, if you get the coordinates, hit it with a laser and read the data or something like that. We're really going to have to protect our data. I didn't think it was going to come to that, but we do. Not only from asteroids.
That's why I believe in
No,
comments.
wait. There apparently Scooby's in the show, but it's Scoobi, and it's some black chick.
What the?
Really?
That's what people are saying.
I'm not even shocked.
A dog.
No, it's
what
a
are they
woman.
insinuating? Yeah, exactly. What are they saying?
Oh, right.
Is that for real?
I think
It automatically changed Scooby back to
We
with
were
a Y.
talking about Scooby-Doo last year. I forgot. Oh, it was the LeBron James.
Oh yeah, Pop Culture Crisis covered it.
Yeah,
Scooby, Velma turned Scooby-Doo into a black woman.
Yeah.
What?
That's kind of weird. Why would they? That's racist.
It kind of is.
Scooby. That's her name. Her name is Scooby, and Norville dates her.
Oh man.
Pop Culture Crisis covered it. Look at that.
Well, Scooby's like Doobie, right? Scooby Doobie. Smoking that.
Oh yeah, it was
That's-
Scooby
that's
Dooby
where-
Doo.
They were
That's
all
where it
high.
came
That
from.
dog was on drugs,
Dude,
man.
Scooby
Yeah,
snacks,
all the
man.
But
Those
they're
edibles.
like figuring out shit, right? So they're like the guy in Cabin in the Woods, like the guy that's the stoner guy, but he actually figures everything out.
Yeah.
You know that character. So
Oh,
it's
wasn't it like the weed was allowing him to
Yeah.
break through and
He's
see
like,
what was going on?
But like, no, they're really controlling us. The puppet masters, right? And there really were puppet masters.
Yeah, that movie was awesome. I remember when I remember it was like, hey, when the movie came out, people were asking me, have you seen Cabin in the Woods? I'm like, I'm not going to go see that movie. Like a movie about some dumb teenagers who go to the cabin in the woods and get murdered. And they're like, that's not what it's about.
You know what I've noticed about
And
smoking?
then when I went to go see it, for those that aren't familiar, it's about a trope of people, the Scooby-Doo gang, the nerdy girl, the hot girl, the
Yeah,
jock, and the
exactly.
stoner,
Right.
going to a cabin, and then there's a gigantic underground complex of people trying to sacrifice them to Moloch or whatever.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That was
The
good.
old ones, yeah.
The old ones. That was funny.
What I found
That was a fun movie.
with weed and the value of it in like perception, because it does change your perception, is that it's kind of like holding a magnifying glass, and the more you smoke, the further away the glass gets. So you want to get it to the right position so that you can see the thing. But if you do too much, it becomes blurry. If you don't do enough, it's still blurry, kind of thing. So
Do you
it's
want a Scooby snack? Ian?
dosing every day, dog. I think dosage, the key in the whole drug war, it's not about the drug, it's about the dosage of the content. Like, what is the chemical, what is the dosage? Fentanyl is not going to kill you in the right dosage. But
Wow.
the unfortunate thing is that conversation probably hasn't been highlighted enough yet, and the dosage is like overlooked in some situations. I don't want to manifest that because we can focus on dosage.
Yeah.
But I think that so many psychedelics are going to be a key component in the preservation of our species moving forward against the machine. Feels like it anyway. Did I just hijack the conversation, Pete?
What were you talking about?
We're talking about Scooby snacks, I think, and then we're talking.
Oh yeah. You get me on Shaggy, I'm gonna go nuts.
Yeah. I mean, there's like the whole theory about like how I think it's Paul Stamets said that we ate psilocybin mushrooms, and that like made us then see things and then think more, and it allowed our brain to develop because it increased like the connection between neurons, etc.
That's what Jay was saying with Terrence McKenna,
Right.
and it's called the stoned ape theory.
Stoned ape theory, right? Is that what that is?
I think it originates with Terrence McKenna, yeah. And it's
so
the idea
not Stamets, okay.
And then Stamets, who's a fungologist or whatever you call it, the greatest mycologist on earth, Paul Stamets.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.